All right, Brian, it is a stomach-dropping moment that a lot of us dread. A relationship going well until a red flag pops up. And they can cause us to second-guess the other person, our connection, our future. And we want to help you navigate around these red flags that may pop up in your relationship. So we called in an expert. Joining us live, best-selling author and addiction treatment specialist TJ Woodward is with us. TJ, good morning to you.
Good morning. So delighted to be here with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you once again. So talk about red flags. What are they? What would be a good example of a red flag that pops up in a relationship?
Well, when we talk about red flags, we tend to think of the red flag in the other person. So traditionally, we might say, uh-oh, there's a behavior, there's a tone of voice, there's something this person just said or did, and it feels really familiar. What I want to invite is that's true, but what we want to really look at is what's getting touched within us. In other words, we really want to be curious about what red flag arises in us rather than the other person.
Okay, but there are some universal red flags. I mean, it depends on our past experience as well, as you just mentioned, but what would you say the biggest relationship red flags to be aware of would be?
Well, I think anytime someone is disrespectful, what I'm not talking about when we're shifting from the other person to looking at our red flags is something that's obviously abusive. There are people who have a history of being in an abusive relationship. So if there is something that shows up that feels familiar, it's kind of like, oh, this time I thought it was going to be different, but suddenly you're in that same relationship. So if we're talking about something like severe abuse that shows up, obviously we're talking about walking away from that relationship. But for most of us, when that red flag shows up, it's really an invitation to do some deeper healing.
Okay, so when the red flag goes up in the relationship, when should we maybe ignore it, and maybe when shouldn't we?
Well, I don't think we ever want to ignore it. What we want to do is when it shows up, we want to start inviting ourselves to ask some questions. One, is this familiar? Is this something getting touched within me? Usually we tend to think, here's this red flag. Should I stay in this relationship or should I go? And that might be a valid question for someone in something more severe. But for many of us, that gets touched and it really is something that's wanting to heal. So we unplug, we plug into ourselves, we don't ignore it, but we ask what's getting touched and how do I begin to do a deeper healing around this?
Got that. Okay, so if the relationship is safe, it is healthy, you're going along just fine, and then all of a sudden there's this thing. How do we overcome that and save the relationship?
Well, we start by being really aware, not of what was said or done, but what was getting touched, as I said. And once we're aware of that, we look at the familiarity of it and the history of it. Is this something that has been repeated in relationships that I've been in? If it is, we start asking ourselves the question, what's getting touched? What is that wound there? What would it take for me to start to heal it? Usually it touches some kind of core false belief. And I think we talked about that the last time. Right. Something like, I am not worthy, I'm not lovable. And then we can start to look at how we can heal that.
Okay, so when we address that, and I would imagine if it's a relationship that you are invested in, you want to save the relationship. So how do we deal with that?
We start by looking at that wound. Where did this originate? Start doing some of that deeper work of healing those original places where that wound got touched. Then from there, we do, of course, go to the other person and see what's available in terms of communicating that. Not saying you made me feel this, but I am aware that this got touched. So one communication style is when you did this, I felt this. I actually just say, I invite people to say, I notice I'm feeling sad. I notice I'm feeling agitated. I notice I'm feeling angry. And then we get to see if the other person's going to show up for an authentic conversation.
Such good insight. As always, best-selling author and addiction treatment specialist TJ Woodward, we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you so much. It's always an honor to be here with you.